What's happening, YouTube? This is John nerding out with cards, and I thought I'd take a break from real life to talk about some baseball cards. Today, I got a shipment in from Superior Fit Innovations with their perfect fit sleeves for some card savers that I received from the Penny Sleever, along with their card sleeves. They sponsor Greg, New Life Cards. Uh, Baseball Card Collector, Chris Missouri, Card Case Showdown. Figure I try them out. Really good stuff. I'd recommend their products, especially if you don't have an LCS nearby. So you know what I was doing was I was reholdering some cards. I kept in a binder. I like the form factor of the card savers changes a little bit with the perfect fit sleeves, but still really good stuff. Trying to see how much plastic I can wrap around a card 3 times, as it turns out. But I had talked about in my intro video, Willie McGee. I collect him, but the collection scope is a little bit different, right? With Ozzy, I super collect him. But with Willie, it's his career overlaps a lot with Ozzy, so it'd be a lot of the same sets, a lot of the same cards, and it's like it's been doing that for a few decades now. Do I really have it within me to collect another player to that level? And it's not there for me. But at the same time, I love Willie McGee, and is he a Hall of Famer? Should he be a Hall of Famer? No. It's kind of ridiculous, even though he has a very special place within Major League Baseball history. But he's a Cardinals Hall of Famer, and I'm a sucker for that. But so I was like, I'll collect his rookie cards, because we all love rookie cards. Y'all saw my 83 Topps. Old label PSA 9. Now he's one of my favorites. It's in a PSA slab. Would it be a 9 today? I don't know, don't care. Great copy. So I'm collecting his rookie cards, and I've got almost all of them. There's a couple I'm missing. But I was watching a video. It's a John 3D80s kid video, and they were opening packs of 83 Donruss. And when people are opening packs of 83 Donruss, or they're talking about the 83 sets, they're talking about the big 3, right? They're looking for that, or they got that, or they're sending that in. Wade Boggs, Tony Gwynn, Ryan Sandberg, all great players, right? Duh, they're in the Hall of Fame. But they're not my guys. Like, Willie's my guy. And I remember somebody pulling a Willie McGee card, and this one right here, Donruss right there. My opinion, the best image on Willie's rookie cards. They were like, yeah, it's a nice card, but for me, like, that'd be the one to get, and but so anyway, you got the Fleer. And this one's pretty special because of the description on the back. And because this is the only one that refers to his absolutely legendary performance, Game 3, 1982 World Series. You can watch it on the YouTube right now. And if it was Reggie Jackson or another Yankee or whoever that had done what he did, everybody would be talking about it. He hit 2 home runs and robbed a home run. And I think what hurts its legacy is the fact that Darryl Porter was named the '82 World Series MVP, and I understand why, but my vote would have been for Willie. With Fleer, you also have the Fleer sticker. You know, these were pretty cool. You know, I like the blue border with the powder blue uniform. Good stuff. With the tops that you already saw, if you know we have tops, what do we also have? We also have the O-Pee-Chee. You know, it's got O-Pee-Chee there on the front. And you look at the back, it's a lighter color. And then tops that also come out with stickers of their own. Right here. And I'm wanting to say with these numbers in that set, it's players that were in the World Series. I'm not 100% positive. You know, Ozzy's got some too. With tops, there's also a Peachy again. Oop. Screwed that one up. Slightly different back. You know, it's got the French on there. That's how you can tell. And then he's got another one. You know, his base one or whatever. Same back as the tops before. And then the O-Pee-Chee. Same image on the front. Different back. French. And then the All-Star Game programs back at that time had hand-cut cards. You know, and, you know, for whatever reason they're considered cards. You know, they're on the PSA registry list. They're, you know, they're also on trading card database. And then Willie, being as awesome as he is, was an all-star, was in there. Right there. Now, I mean, he's got a couple more that I'm targeting. You know, he's got a team issue one that's on the eBay right now, but you gotta buy the whole damn set. It's like, I don't want the whole damn set. Yeah, I just want the Willie card. I already have the Ozzy card. I don't need a whole team set that I'm just gonna break up for one card. And then, you know, because it's the junk wax era, there's a dog food insert, Ajax. You know, and I can't find that one. The only one that I can find, you know, they're selling the whole set, like $700. And it's like, I don't want the whole set. I just want the Willie card. So anyway, there's two more I want to get that I know exists. Unfortunately, you know, like I said, Willie came up in '82. He played less than a month in the minors that year, and yet he didn't have a Topps traded card. You know, Ozzy had a Topps traded card. Cal Ripken had a Topps traded card. And I don't know what the dynamics were or what have you, but Willie wasn't included. And like, man, it really kind of sucks that he doesn't have an '82 card. You know, luckily for me, we have a trading card database and things like that that can educate us. And come to find out, Willie does have a 1982 card. Now, it's not uncommon for players to have minor league cards. A lot of players do. And, well, Willie does. As a matter of fact, he has 4. He has 3 when he still played in the Yankees farm system. You know, he played there with Don Mattingly and things like that, which is kind of funny because both of them were the '85 MVPs. But anyway, so, you know, he has an '82 card with the Louisville Redbirds. You know, affiliates change hands all the time. Cardinals farm team is the Memphis Redbirds now. But it's kind of a weird card because you can see it's portrait, right? But then the picture is landscape. kind of funny. Here's the back. I had bought this a couple years ago off the eBay, and had to get the whole damn team set. But set this in grading through my LCS because that's what I do. Got an 8. Great card. And it's awesome to have a card from his rookie season when he became a World Series legend in my mind. So good stuff. He has a couple other cards later on in his career, because by then Fleer Ultra was around, and they had the platinum medallions. A couple really, really cool images. I like to get those. One I've been able to find. The other one I haven't been able to find. They're pretty scarce, right? Artificially scarce. But anyway, so Willie's got a really cool history within Major League Baseball. They say he's got the legendary performance in the World Series. He was the 85 NL batting title champion, won the MVP that year, deservedly. I was watching a video, because of the recent Veterans Committee or Heirs Committee elections, and somebody was saying that, Dave Parker. And it's like, listen, Dave Parker's a Hall of Famer, as we know now, but he didn't deserve that MVP just because he hit more home runs than Willie McGee. Shoot. Willie deserved it in my mind. I'm a homer. Duh. Of course I'm going to think that. And then later on, he won another batting title, even though he finished the season in the American League. It's one of those weird, cool baseball trivia things, but he won the 1990 NL batting title, even though he was traded to the Oakland Athletics for their World Series run. Unfortunately, they didn't win it, especially for Willie and like Tony La Russa and stuff. But and then it's cool. He got to go play in Oakland. He got to go play in San Francisco because that's where he's from. And then he came back. 96, that's what I really, really remember. The Cardinals had their slogan, baseball the way it ought to be. You had Ozzie and you had Willie coming back. I remember reading news articles from my grandmother that she sent me that, Andy Van Slyke came to spring training, Vince Coleman came to spring training. They just didn't make the team, I guess, but Willie did. He ends up playing through 99, and so I kind of think of him as like a modern day Red Shandies. Red Shandies, similar, got traded for a World Series run, plays a few years elsewhere, comes back, and then Willie becomes a coach up until this year. And I think they made up a job title for him. I don't know, but him being a coach is great because, 2019 I transferred to Clearwater, and they were playing the Phillies, who train in Clearwater, and the ballpark was just a few miles from my house, and went to the game because I was like, I'll go out to Jupiter next year, and we all know it happened next year. And I had my daughter with me. She was 2 at the time, and so we go down to the field, had a baseball, and she got her baseball signed by Willie McGee. It's funny because he looked up, and you could tell he was thinking that this jackwagon is using this little girl to get an autographed baseball. But one of the things to do on the bottom of the balls is who they are and what the day was. And you can see that ain't my name, because this is her ball. Yeah, I love Willie McGee. All the reports, you read about his play. But in St. Louis, we love Willie McGee. I know Tops 85401 had commented on my video that Willie's from the same hometown he's from. But man, great player, you know, won Gold Gloves, won Silver Sluggers, batting titles, World Series. You know, he had over 2,200 hits. Really, really cool player in Major League Baseball history. And he's just an example of an awesome player to collect, even if they're not Major League Baseball Hall of Fame worthy. You know, think of players, you know, on your favorite teams. You know, High Pop Professor, Iconic Al, with their Sean Casey collections. You know, because they have a personal connection with him, of course. But you know, what about your favorite teams? You know, if you're an Indians fan, you know, with Omar Vizquel, which yeah, I understand there's debate on whether or not he should be in the Hall of Fame. Get it? Even though he is not as good as Ozzie Smith defensively. I don't care what anybody says. Hate me in the comments. But what about Braves fans with Andrew Jones? You know, a tremendous player. Think about Mark Burley, St. Louis kid, Chicago White Sox. Just players like that. Like, so what if they're not in the Hall of Fame? You love them. Remember watching them play. Collect their cardboard. You know, they don't have to be graded. They don't have to be valuable. You just have to just enjoy looking at them. You know, and just come up with a collection scope that fits you, that fits your player, and have a blast with it. So, that's all I got for tonight. Y'all have a good one.